A very good morning to my UTP supervisor, Dr. Helmi, my host company supervisor, Mr. Andrew, and my fellow colleagues. Today, I'm going to talk about my test automation project. Okay, so that was the project that I was given to work on with. It's called test automation using Selenium to test web browsers. Okay, so before I get more on the test automation, let me just brief you through what is SIP all about. So, SIP is a platform for students to get a chance to work on a real project given by the company. Okay, unlike SIT, before this I was working on SIT. For SIT, it was more on getting used to the work culture and also understanding the basic job requirement back in the company. But in SIP, I was actually given a real project to develop. Okay, so before I hit it more on the testing part, so let me just have a recap on Scrum methodology. But Agile I've already explained in the SIT, so I feel there's no need for me to explain. So I'll jump into Scrum methodology. So Scrum methodology follows this simple procedure of planning, developing, testing, and review. This is just a basic method that we follow for each sprint. So once this process is done, the same process will be done in the following sprint. So what does sprint actually means? Sprint is more like a time range, okay, a set of period of time in which specific work has to be completed within that time. It typically lasts from for 2 weeks, or to be more specific, 10 days in our company. So it's basically from day one all the way until daytime, what are the things that we work on. So the progress of the sprint can be monitored by this thing called a burn down chart. What is burn down chart? It's a chart for us to monitor, like you can see here. The progress from day 1 to day 10, you can see the chart is decreasing. So this means that the work is actually being done day by day according to plan. So that is why it's decreasing. It shows that the tasks have been completed slowly. Okay, and we should also note that here we go through production release at every given sprint. Okay. So what are the meetings that we follow in Scrum methodology? Typically on the first or second day, we start off with sprint planning. So in this, we decide which are the stories that we prioritize to work on for that sprint. So we make estimations on story points, like the priorities that which one we're going to work on with. And we should also note that the total estimation must be within the team's maximum capacity. Okay, we don't want a situation where we think that okay, we can work on a large number of story points, but end up towards the end we rush onto things. That is not good for the product. Okay, so that is on the first and second day. But on a daily basis, we have another meeting called Daily Scrum. Okay, this is a stand-up discussion via Skype. Typically lasts for 15 to 20 minutes standard. So what we discuss in this is the things that we accomplished yesterday, the things that I'm going to work on today, and is there any issues that I face while testing. So these are the things that we discuss in a group. And at the end of each sprint, we have this called the meeting called sprint retrospective. This is more like the review on how the sprint went. In this meeting, we discuss the things that went well and the things that didn't really go to plan, and what are the things that we can actually improve on. Okay. Next is testing. Okay, what is testing? These are the definition of testing. Testing is the process of finding defects in the system. This is to ensure all the functions are working correctly according to plan. And testing is also known as maintaining the quality of the product. Not only finding the defects, as a tester, we also prevent defects by testing. Okay, why is testing necessary? Because, as we all know, human error is unavoidable. The devs are also human, so the tendency for them to make an error is, it still exists. So when we do testing, we make sure that the developers have done their parts correctly. Because we know software failures can lead to many problems. So by testing, we can also reduce the risk of problems occurring. Okay, what are the roles of a tester? Firstly, we test each user story the moment developers complete their task. Okay, like you can see here, this is known as a Jira bot. So when the ticket is in progress, this means that the developers are currently working on it. My task as a tester is the moment the ticket reaches the QA column, this is when I have to test. Okay. We also verify that the entire system is working correctly before sprint demo. Because after every small fixes by the dev, there are chances that it may affect some other parts. So we have to go through the whole system once again before it goes for release. Tester also writes test automation script, and other than that, we create bugs, or in other words, defects. Okay, coming into creating bugs. So this is how we actually create a bug. When we are testing, we find a defect, we create a bug. So this is one of the bugs that I reported. It's very simple. Just create a short description on the nature of the bug, meaning that it's like a summary on what is the bug is all about, and steps to reproduce the bug, meaning how the developers can navigate to the exact place of the problem. And we have to just mention the expected result, meaning that what it should actually display, and the actual result. Actual result is like what is the current problem that they need to fix. Okay. Coming into testing, we have two types of testing. One is manual testing, another one is automated testing. So what is manual testing? Manual testing is a type of software testing where testers execute test cases manually without any automation tool. So it's basically a human sitting in front of his laptop and automating all his test cases. That is manual testing. What about automation testing? Automation testing is using an automation tool to execute our test suites. It's pretty much the same as manual testing, but in this one we use an automation tool, meaning we develop a script earlier, okay, and all we need to do is just execute. As you can look in this picture, the tester can just relax. Once it's executed, at the end it will generate its report in where it will display how many passed, how many failed, and how many skipped. Okay, but you should also note that not all test cases can be automated. Test cases that we prefer to automate are test cases that are executed repeatedly. We don't want to repeat the same steps again and again to test our test cases, so we can just automate. Same goes to test cases which are difficult to perform. Rather than doing it manually and wasting our time, we can just automate. But there are some test cases which we do not automate. For example, test cases which involves CSS. Okay. Why we recommend to use test automation? Firstly, it's fast execution. As we all know, instead of manual testing, it requires a lot of time. So while using automation testing, we can just do it very fast. And it also improves consistency. We should know that as testers, we actually develop the script. So while we are developing the script, we will also immediately test. So it means that we as testers know exactly what the issue is. So there's lesser chances of it failing. And also it reduces human error. Even an experienced tester can, okay, if let's say there are 100 test cases that a manual tester needs to execute, he can get it right for 99 times. But at the 100th time, he can still fail, even though he's very experienced. Okay, so that is why it improves consistency. The next point is lesser investment in human resource. There are some projects where it consists of 1,000 test cases. So if you were to do it manually, we need at least 10 human resource, 10 or maybe even 20 to do it manually. But if you do it using test automation, maybe we can just need 2 or 3 automated tester. The knowledge that he needs is a basic Java knowledge and some Selenium knowledge. Okay, so not only saving time, it also saves money. The next benefit is performs tests 24/7, meaning that we can schedule it to run overnight. There's no need for us to sit down and monitor one by one. Okay, and also reusability, because the script that we develop, we can keep using it for the future sprints. There's no need for us to redevelop again, unless if there is any small update changes, we just need to update it in the existing script. Okay. Selenium as an automation testing tool. So to test using automation, we need a tool. So like in my case, I use Selenium as a tool. So what is Selenium? Selenium is a set of software tools that help us automate web browsers and also web applications. So Selenium is like a medium of communication between our script and also the web browser. So we need Selenium in order to get through that phase and automate. So Selenium is a free and open software. There is no any license required to use this. And it provides tools that can interact directly with all the things that we want to automate. For example, inputs, click, select, whatever. It supports various programming languages such as Java, JavaScript, Python, various operating system, Windows, iOS, Android, everything. And also it supports almost all browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Explorer, Safari, Opera. Okay, this is a simple flow of task automation. For example, there's this user and he wants to automate the simple step of input username, password, and login. So how would we do it? Firstly, we need to import Selenium library. Okay, once we have already import Selenium library, then we develop our test automation script. When the test automation script is ready, all we need to do is execute and it will run by itself. On a higher level, the steps to use Selenium is, firstly, we need to identify web elements. So these are the things that is known as web elements, the things that we want to automate, like input box, radio button, text box, all those things that we want to automate. So these are known as web elements. So every web element will have its unique identifier or locator such as name, ID, and expert. So I will be explaining more about this on the next slide. So once we have already inspect the unique name, attributes, or expert, we can just develop our script using our preferred programming language. In my case, I use Java. Once the script is ready, we can just run it. Okay, coming back to identifying web element. So we have a few ways to locate the attributes. One of it is locating by ID. So when we can use this is that when we inspect the web element that we want to automate. So if you look at it, for example, I want to automate the login form itself. The ID, the unique ID that's present is, the unique attribute that's present is ID. So in this case, we can just take ID. Once we already have the attribute, this is a way how to write it in a code form for Java. Okay, same goes to names. Name is similar to ID. As you can see, if I want to automate username or password, the unique attribute present is name, so we can just use name. In case if neither name or ID is not present, that is when we can actually choose to use expert. So expert is like a last option. In case if both are not there, then we can just use expert. So this is the method how to use expert. Unlike ID and name, you can directly use its unique attribute. For this, we need to copy its expert and write it. This is a form of expert. But we should also note that expert is vulnerable to changes, meaning that if in case there are some updates to the system, it changes. So that is why we do not encourage to use it, but we give our priorities to IDs and names first, and then if there's no option, that is when we use expert. Okay, before that, so let me demonstrate the project that I worked on. Okay, it's an API project. So this is my code.
Any questions while waiting for him? Okay.
How long is your sprint? 2 weeks or 10 days?
Yeah.
How long is your sprint for? 2 weeks or 10 days?
Either 2 weeks or 10 days.
How long is yours?
Mine is 10 days.
10 days.
Yeah.
Same as the whole company lah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's 10 working days, I suppose.
10 working days.
Yeah, 10.
2 weeks, yeah.
2 weeks,
Okay, so I focus on
Are you projecting? Press source on.
this one.
Okay, leave it. Check if this the wire is in.
This one. Oh, not this one.
What is in?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's start.